Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're talking about a mind that could roam the entire universe, even while its body was confined to a single chair. We are, of course, talking about Stephen Hawking. But we're going beyond the icon to really understand how a devastating diagnosis he got at 21 didn't end his story, it actually kicked it into high gear. All right, let's just jump right in. It all starts with one number, 21. That's the age that completely changed the course of his life. And, in a really strange way, it's what unlocked his true genius. I mean, this was it, the big, pivotal moment. Here you have this brilliant mind, right? Just starting his graduate work at Cambridge, and bam, he gets this absolutely devastating news. Talk about a challenge. It's like a countdown clock was suddenly slapped on a life that was just about to ask the biggest questions in the universe. But, to really get how incredible that triumph was, we kind of have to rewind a bit. We need to see who he was before all this happened. See, long before he faced this massive physical challenge, young Stephen Hawking at Oxford, well, he had a totally different problem. He was just bored. Yeah, he was just one of those people, a true prodigy. The work at Oxford? He said it was ridiculously easy. So easy he barely even tried. Get this. He figured he only studied for about 1,000 hours over his entire 3-year degree. 1,000 hours! He was way more into the college boat club. And this moment right here tells you everything you need to know about the young Hawking. The sheer confidence, the brashness, but also that undeniable brilliance. It's all there. He basically told his examiners, look, if you give me a first, I'm off to Cambridge. If you give me a second, I'm stuck here in Oxford. So I'm expecting you'll give me a first. Can you imagine? And you know what? They did. They knew they were dealing with someone on another level. So he gets his ticket to Cambridge is punched, and he's ready to take on cosmology. He's on top of the world, right? But that's when the universe decided to throw its biggest curveball at him. And this wasn't some intellectual puzzle he could solve. This was a physical one, a devastating one, the diagnosis. And the verdict was just brutal. This rare, slow-progressing form of MND meant his body would gradually fail him. The doctors told him he had 2 years. 2 years. For a minute there, it really looked like this amazing journey was over before it even started. And who could blame him? He fell into a deep depression. I mean, what's the point of studying the universe if you're not going to be around to finish? But then, something just shifted. Something changed inside him. As he put it later, the diagnosis didn't end his life. It lit a fire under it. The idea that he might die soon made him realize how much life was worth living. All of a sudden, that brilliant but kind of scattered mind, it was laser-focused. And that new focus, it unleashed one of the greatest scientific minds we've ever seen. It's this incredible paradox, right? The more his body was confined to that chair, the more his mind was set free to just explore everything, the entire cosmos. So he teams up with his colleague, Roger Penrose, and they start with this idea of singularities. These points in space-time where physics just kind of breaks down, like at the center of a black hole. But they had a bigger idea. What if they applied that same concept to the whole universe? And they did the math. They proved that our universe must have started from a single point, just like that. And then came the big one, the idea that would completely change physics. He proposed that black holes aren't actually black. They're not these eternal prisons we all thought they were. Turns out they leak energy. They radiate. And we now call that Hawking radiation. This was absolutely mind-blowing because it was the first time anyone had managed to connect Einstein's giant theory of relativity with the super weird world of quantum mechanics. I mean, just think about what a huge shift this was. Before Hawking, a black hole was a one-way street, an eternal cosmic prison. But after Hawking, suddenly there are these complex, dynamic things that can leak, shrink, and even die. He totally rewrote the rulebook on these cosmic monsters. But here's the thing about Hawking. It wasn't enough for him to understand the universe. He wanted us to understand it too. All of us. And that desire is what took him from being a brilliant Cambridge professor to a legit global superstar. And that's where A Brief History of Time comes in. The book was a smash hit. I mean, an absolutely unprecedented success. It took all these huge, complicated ideas, the Big Bang, black holes, what even is time, and broke them down so that pretty much anyone could get it. No PhD required. So, how successful are we talking? Well, it stayed on the Sunday Times bestseller list for 237 weeks straight. That's more than 4.5 years. It sold millions and millions of copies and turned Stephen Hawking into a household name. And he just leaned into it. He totally embraced the fame, not with some big ego, but with this amazing sense of humor and a real desire to connect with people. I mean, he played poker with Einstein on Star Trek. He hung out with Homer Simpson. He used that iconic voice and his incredible wit to prove a point. Science isn't some exclusive club for geniuses. It's for everybody. So after living for more than 50 years past that initial 2-year death sentence, which is just incredible, Hawking started to shift his focus. He began looking away from the universe's ancient past and started looking toward humanity's much more immediate and maybe much more dangerous future. He started using his huge platform to ask some really big, really urgent questions. He wasn't just a scientist anymore. He became a voice of warning, pointing out the major existential threats he saw coming our way. One of his biggest worries was artificial intelligence. He was seriously concerned about it. He warned that if we actually succeed in creating a true superintelligence, yeah, it could be the biggest thing we ever do. But he said it might also be the last thing we ever do, especially if we can't make sure its goals are the same as ours. And because of those dangers, AI, but also things like climate change and nuclear war, he came to a pretty stark conclusion. He argued that our long-term survival depends on us becoming a multi-planetary species. Basically, we had to get off this rock and colonize space if we wanted to guarantee a future for humanity. But for all those stark warnings, his final message wasn't about fear. It was all about wonder and gratitude. It was a testament to a life spent just completely in awe of the universe. Here was a man who faced the ultimate physical limitation, and he responded by showing every single one of us that the human mind, the human spirit, has no limits at all.